Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I hope you guys have your your coffee locked and loaded, ready to go because the Bitcoin price is dropping and there is a reason for it. The crisis around, so to say, one of the empires of the world is not resolved in a financial manner, not yet. And we are also going to talk about some very important topics regarding Ecomi and Veve. Veve has announced a pretty big drop, in my opinion, so we are going to look at that as well, and some developments that are coming from the gaming space. And with that said, still no time to roll the intro here. Let's jump right in. If you're watching this later, please make sure you use the timestamps to find your favorite topics. Everything that I say here is not financial advice, just for information and entertainment purposes. So please make sure you do your own research before you ape full degen into Bitcoin, Ecomi, Veve, and everything else that we are talking about here. Also, guys, that you are already here in the live chat, smash the like button if you enjoy this type of content, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet to never miss a video. Smarty Pants is in the live stream and says he's back. You don't sleep, right? So I don't know. You have the same sleep rhythm that I do, but either way, you were here on the last live stream. You're here now. Do you sleep in between? Anyways, I want to thank my rare hodlers, my Patreons, my channel members for always supporting me here on these live streams, and I do not want to forget to take a sip of coffee, obviously. Let's jump right in because the Bitcoin price is seeing some pretty downside right after that we had 4 green days. We are starting off, or we are going with the beginning of the week to the middle of the week with some downtrend. Yeah, sleep. What sleep? Sleep is sometimes something good, right? So pretty, not big, but some red candle here, and we are going to put that into perspective. But first of all, let's cover some news. Okay, I didn't want to go to the settings, so we just accept that. US debt ceiling deal clears first hurdle despite hardline conservative revolt. So there is still back and forth on this very last day regarding the US debt ceiling. So for everyone who's new, who doesn't know it, who has not dealt with the news lately, basically the US Congress is discussing whether the US can print more money to finance their spendings, or if they are going to start to default on their spendings and on their debts, because a big part of the spendings is the repayment and then also the interest rates on the US debt that they have. So what they have to do is either repay those debts and cut extremely their spendings, or they just do what is illegal for every one of you, me, and everyone else out there, and that is just start printing money into your pocket so you have more for spending. So what they already put out as a plan is that they are going to cut spending by only just a tiny bit, and then also they are going to print a lot of money. So what's the consequence? In turn, that if they cannot reach an agreement, they have to default on the debt, and that's very, very bad for the entire world stock market, and then maybe short term even for Bitcoin. So as we see, there was a hardline Republican revolt that could not prevent legislation to raise the US debt ceiling from clearing its first procedural hurdle in the House of Representatives on Tuesday evening. Here's how the drama is playing out on Capitol Hill. And let's just look a little bit into where we are standing right now. So the two parties finally reached a deal after a showdown lasting months, then weeks of painstaking negotiations. It was an uphill battle, but there are more steep hills to climb. Now the two leaders, Democrat President Joe Biden and Republican Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy, must sell their weekend agreement to their members of Congress. They believe that even with some defections on the left and right, they have the votes to pass the bill. So yeah, the Treasury has moved the day the US would hit its borrowing limit to Monday, 5th of June. That's super funny because how can you move that day? I mean, you can agree to with creditors, right, that you have to pay a little bit later and so on. Maybe that's with huge loans. But anyways, for the moment, financial markets appear to have calmed as prospects recede of global economic chaos that would result from the world's biggest economy defaulting on its 31.4 trillion debt. 31.4 trillion, that is an unimaginably large sum and something that we haven't heard of in the beginnings of like 2000 to 2010. Then it was still about billions, right? I think the Iraq war was about trillions already, but yeah. Anyway, that could quickly change if the multi-step process for approving the debt limit agreement is derailed or otherwise blocked in the days ahead. So if that happens, then catastrophe is upon us. The deal introduced new federal spending limits and restrictions on low-income aid programs in exchange for a debt limit increase. So let's read that one again. It's interesting. The deal introduced new federal spending limits and restrictions on low-income aid programs. Why? I I understand it. Maybe if it would put cutting costs on everything, but I have read in another article here in Financial Times that actually the spending regarding defense is not touched, right? And I'm 100% not against any defense spending. So we all know that if you are the empire, you have to maintain a stance in the world and you don't want to go under, then you have to do that. That's obviously fine. I've also served in the military and I've kind of a relationship to that. But still, I mean, you are basically saying, hey, we're going to pay our debts on the low, on cutting our low income aid, right? That doesn't sound like a plan to maintain voters. Anyways, that's what we have here with the US debt ceiling deal, and that is why the Bitcoin price, so to say, let's say from a more objective perspective, is going down in price. Now let's get my funny lines in here and we will see. So we had before discussed this head and shoulders pattern here on the channel. We have also dropped out of it as planned. We had a bearish retest as planned, but then while I was on my holidays here, we actually have lost this level, or we have bounced here up from this trend line, and what seems to be forming right now is that this upsloping line here that was the neckline for the head and shoulder doesn't seem to be the most accurate. So let's get that out of the picture for now, because there is a picture that is forming that is way more significant, so to say. So if we take these lines here and draw that in, we can see that we are actually having a pretty big flag here. And we have several touch points for this flag where we are bouncing in right now, and we have been rejected once more. Now the question is that it is also a little bit very tiny going inward, and it is heading down to this trend line. Now we cannot see it here. I had told you before, when we had this head and shoulders and we would take a measured move, you would drop out, that we roughly come down to this 25,000 range, which didn't happen on this one. On some exchanges the wick actually goes lower. There was on some exchanges something in that direction of 25,000. We didn't quite hit it, but I think we were at least in let's say in the range there, right? So yeah, that's what we have right now. Now we got rejected off of this line because of the ongoing uncertainty with the debt ceiling. So in these past days, it seemed that that there is more certainty, more clarity, and positive news from the US regarding that. But as for the moment, we have more uncertainty, and markets hate uncertainty so much. So we have a pretty harsh drawdown here for Bitcoin in the short term. But there is something that I wanted to show to you guys in the long term. And that is, if we take this line here, this major blue resistance line, which we hit, by the way, on spot, right here. And we also let's take also in consideration that we had until the first pump a major falling wedge basically here in the Bitcoin price, right? And this is already the daily chart. And guys, by the way, let me know if you hardly disagree or if you agree, but I want to show you this massive bullish pattern. So if we look at this line from here to where we are right now, yeah, then we are having this, basically this curving up here, and you must see it already, right? For everyone who is not into anything like TA, and I'm by far a TA expert. I'm learning. I think I'm quite okay right now at it already, but I'm not much about all the fib extensions and hitting the 0.5 whatever. But what I like is to see patterns like head and shoulders. And now, if we look at this, we have a huge cup, and we have been sloping down here. So we could, if we would come up in the next weeks here, we could find ourselves a perfect, like picture perfect cup and handle pattern in the massive major long term that has even a so to say a structure below it where the lowest point actually would be the Bitcoin bottom for this cup and handle structure, right? So we have been rejected here. We have been sloping down perfectly. We are coming back down here in the very low end, and maybe we will bounce here and find ourselves a breakout out of this structure here, right on how we drew it. So this can also go very quickly up here. Doesn't have to wait until, for example, the end of June. It could already happen in June. So prices boom in June, right? What would be, so let's just say that this would be the breakout point, right? Then that would bring us up to that would bring us up to 58,000 US dollars for or 59,000 almost for this breakout of the cup and handle pattern. If we would take this neckline here as a reference point, which seems reasonable to me, that would still not put us at an all-time high, but it would be really, and I want to really play this or place caution here, because TA is one thing, right? And you can have all these beautiful patterns, but you can also have your pattern destroyed on the very end. So you really have to see if this plays out like this, or if we come down, for example, here's another scenario, right? So if you don't have this cup and handle pattern, you could also argue you have a bottom here. You could come down all the way and form a massive double bottom, right? So it doesn't have to break out here. So be very, very careful if you look at TA chart patterns like this and just say, oh, it has a cup and handle. Now the entire world economy and the dollar exchange rate and index, they have to all adjust to to what I am seeing in the charts, and that's not how it works. But I just want to bring the TA perspective into a picture where we have a major problem solved and many other long-term problems smoothening out, right? So if we look at this lines up with, let's say we have the debt ceiling solved and maybe some other things, we could go up here to this trend line, break it, retest, come up here, and we would more or less fulfill our cup and handle pattern here on Bitcoin. We are going to monitor that closely, whether we are right or wrong. Keep in mind that this is a daily move that we see right now that can take several days to play out. This can even drag out more if we are coming down here and take longer to fulfill this pattern. But we are going to leave this drawn in and see in the next crypto morning streams how this is actually playing out. So let me know if you agree, disagree, if you are a TA pro and can confirm or not confirm. But sure as hell, that would make altcoins bleed in the short term, if it pumps like crazy, Bitcoin. But then after that, profits that drop into altcoins. So if this happens and Bitcoin goes on a tear here, I would actually stop or pause my Bitcoin savings plan and then pivot to accumulating more altcoins. That's what I would do. By the way, my hair looks a little bit messy here. So there is another one that is interesting for Bitcoin, and that is Bitcoin is about to make the first golden cross of the MA 2200. This has never happened before. At the time, both bands are serving as support right now. The death cross is in September 2022, happened just before the FTX crash. It's time to put the dark times behind us. And that would support the thesis of a massive pump here for Bitcoin. Because if you look at this, right, what Mustache here posted, you have the blue moving average with on this. I think it is this must be a weekly. This is a 1 week chart, 200 week MA, I think, and you have this never. So it was sliced in every bear market or tipped in every bear market slightly, and also on the crash here in 2020. But it has never fallen through like this. So there was never a death cross because the pump was usually there before. And then we had the death cross, and then actually, a rip down into this bear market with the FTX crash, where many say that this was not supposed to be that low, that we had some very bad or big factors here getting. In a normal cycle it would probably not have gotten very that low, but FTX basically ripped the prices lower. Then we had some sideways consolidation, so this all could be our bear market trough here. And then we sliced finally through the blue, the longest moving average, and now both are support, and they are forming a bullish cross, a golden cross here on this macro term. And if this was the reaction to the death cross, then we see that weeks after the death cross, we have found our massive capitulation event. And then why not lining up with what I've said before, that we could find in the weeks after this bullish cross, our pump, our massive pump for Bitcoin, that would certainly, in my opinion, be a possibility. What do you think? Sven Janius says, need more VET. Yeah, sure. You can never have enough VeChain, right? I will be. So I have not put out this weekend because of timely restrictions a VeChain update. This will still come. I hope I can get it done today, because there is some interesting stuff to talk about again for VeChain. One of the best altcoins in my personal opinion in terms of real life use cases and real life usability. Luffy Kun says, is now a good time to short, or should you long, or should you wait? Based on, so this depends on your time frame. And by the way, I'm not a trader, right? So I do not I buy, hold for the long term, take profits. That's what I do. So I cannot tell you what to do, but what I can tell you, if I would be trading, I would definitely not open any trades in such an uncertain environment where the Congress in the US is deciding about such massive things, and it can go both ways. I would not be doing this in the face of this pattern where we are in the middle of this flag. So you could either go down, lose the flag, go up, break out of the flag. So I would wait, probably. So I personally would wait and see how things play out. If you were trading the macro, then you certainly want to wait to see if this pattern maybe plays out. But again, I'm not someone who has a reference in making big trades, so I don't want to be the person that tells you what to do. That is what I see, and that is what I would do. So I want to be very, very careful here with my analysis. But regarding my analysis, I would say I would wait to see how this plays out. Maybe there could be a long possibility if this breakout out of the flag to the upside would be confirmed, but then again, careful with the upper head resistance. This is a major previous trapdoor resistance. And yeah, if that resistance is broken, then yeah, that could be a very obvious long there, right? Resistance broken, retested, no fake out to see, and then boom, going up. And All Chat Gaming is is bringing a super sticker in here. I think you have said something together with it. I hope I can see that here on my second monitor, because in the chat message there's nothing written. Here on my chat, All Chat Gaming. Thank you so much for the donation. $4.99 through Super Chat. What does it say? Lemon character and baby lemon blowing a pretty what, blowing a party? Ah, damn, I cannot read it here. Let me just get this chat a little bit bigger. Orchard lemon character and baby lemon blowing a party horn while marching. Okay, that is probably just the description of the sticker and not what you read. Okay, now I get it. See, I'm even unexperienced with this stuff here for the channel still. Yeah, it's a sticker. Yeah, I didn't see that, but thank you so much for the super sticker there. Appreciate it. Always very, very welcome, Orchard Gaming. And yeah, good to have you here. Actually, I didn't know that you can write. Usually, you have only fire comments. One more thing, DXY, because we always analyze the DXY. This is the last thing from the analysis part here. So we are in the weekly chart for the DXY. I have told you that I'm worried about this double bottom thingy. It seems to be losing a little bit of steam here from this breakout. but we all know if DXY is green, then we get red Bitcoin prices. And this is on a tear. But what could happen here is, you see this, and this is still a lower high. So what I really want to see is that we collapse here, and then that we might be even losing that level again, which would then lead into our massive Bitcoin pump so all things would be lining up if this doesn't continue to rally. What could happen is that maybe it comes up a little bit more until this downward sloping average and then gets suppressed by it. So if the average goes like this and we come up, drop, bounce, drop, right? This could be a possibility here. So yeah, we have to carefully see how the DXY reacts. This has to do with the debt ceiling though, because if you are having the debt ceiling basically raised and the permission to print money, then the dollar in comparison to other currencies will lose in value, because the announcement of you printing money to pay your debts will weaken the currency. So in my opinion, there is a good chance that once the approval is there in the next 5 days, as we've seen, the limit for the debt ceiling has been extended, so they have technically time now until the 5th of June. So we could see some more green days, some more red days for Bitcoin there. But then when the decision is there to raise the debt ceiling, which I believe it will happen, then we will probably see actually the DXY turn red, because it already turned red here when it seemed that an agreement is closer, and it turned green again once uncertainty was rising. So from that point, I expect this to top out somewhere here and then drop again. For all the doomsayers, bad times are coming in my opinion. And that is ultimately good for Ecomi, good for Veve in the long term, good for Bitcoin, good for altcoins in the long term. In the short term, on a Bitcoin rally, they could bleed. Next thing that I wanted to talk, and now we are getting into the realm of NFTs, and we are also going to talk about Veve in a second. This one is cool. Japanese largest airline launches NFT marketplace, although that is Nippon Airways. Although I don't really understand why they would launch a marketplace as an airline, but hey, you never know, and that is good for the image of NFTs, right? Because if serious companies are doing stuff with NFTs, that's always good after the scam charade that we had in the last bull run. So the largest airline in Japan launched an aeronautical-themed non-fungible token NFT marketplace with its subsidiary Aina Neo. That shall be enough. If you want to know more, then read the article, but I think that is a good sign. Another one of the, let's say, mechanized giants is Mercedes from Germany. Mercedes-Benz Web3 arm to release NFT collection with digital art community fingerprints. And Mercedes, therefore, is using Fingerprints DAO, or Fingerprints DAO is collaborating with the Dutch artist Harm van Dorpel and German car manufacturer Mercedes-Benz to release a generative or degenerative, in the sense of the degens will ape into this one for sure, art non-fungible token collection inspired by automotive concepts. The title Maschine, which is our word for machine, is supported by Mercedes-Benz NXT, the car manufacturer's new Web3 arm that focuses on digital collectibles and virtual experiences. So even in the bear market, and that's where I'm getting at, even in the bear market, there are a ton of companies that are seeing the chance to work on digital collectibles on Web3. Not everyone is only and solely focusing on AI, and especially in the sense of digital collectibles. What does it mean? In my opinion, it means that you are not so wrong with your Veve invest, right? If you are still in Veve collectibles, because there is a time for digital collectibles. There is a time for serious digital collectibles, which are not baby Doge whale JPEGs issued by any no-name, right? So yeah, I think these things clearly show that the time of NFTs, of digital collectibles, the times are not over. On the contrary, companies like Mercedes-Benz are committing an entire department to the development of digital collectibles and Web3 applications and NFTs. That's serious. Next one. The NVIDIA is also focusing on gaming. Avatar Cloud Engine for games during a packaged keynote was presented, and it included AI. And let's maybe look at this together here a little bit from their video, where they were presenting their new development. This only takes a minute or so, but I think it's interesting to look at how this looks. And just say this before already, the dialogue in this gaming sequence is unscripted. So there is a person just talking to a video game character, and the video game character responds in a, let's say, in a random manner, and opens up there a side quest. So I'm really impressed by how this all looks. But let's watch together.
Okay, run, please. Everything is real time.
Hey Jen, how are you?
Unfortunately, not so good.
How come?
I am worried about the crime around here. It's gotten bad lately. My ramen shop got caught in the crossfire.
Can I help?
If you want to do something about this, I have heard rumors that the powerful crime lord Kuman Aoki is causing all sorts of chaos in the city. He may be the root of this violence.
I'll talk to him. Where can I find him?
I have heard he hangs out in the underground fight clubs on the city's east side. Try there.
Okay, I'll go.
Be careful, Kai.
Yeah, so as you've seen, this is a sequence. Person literally goes up to an NPC and talks to it. And what's so impressive for a keynote, for a demo, you can always fake this is going smoothly and so on. We all know that this is happening, but them presenting this means that there will be beta, there will be things where people can really try that out. So there's no point in just bringing out something that would be completely fake. So what apparently happens is that there are maybe several side quests implemented in one character, and depending on how you talk to the character, it is basically giving the answers and the side quest that leads from your conversation. And now think about this like combined a virtual reality environment with goggles like this would be very interesting as well. We have seen, or we know that in approximately also in 5 days, on the 5th of June, I think, Apple is probably going to present their headset. So if games are getting better with AI and experience is getting better with virtual reality, I think there is a good chance that we see a revolution in the gaming sector by using these technologies maybe together or in a sequence. Although I'm not as bullish as many other people on the timeline, just because of the hardware issues that the producers of these goggles are facing at the moment. We have seen that yesterday, but I think it's worth displaying once more. There is this lens, this micro OLED lens here. Sorry, get rid of the sound here. this micro OLED lens. So this could look. This is how it could look like for augmented reality and virtual reality. Although that some people are claiming that these lenses cannot be powered unless you have heavy batteries on your head with 4K times 4K resolution. But on the other hand, this criticism falls a little bit short as well, because obviously that is a demonstration of power. That doesn't mean that the first thing that comes out has to have this resolution right away. So yeah, I think there is some pretty interesting development. Now let's get to Veve and the newest drop announcement, which is Happy Tree Friends. And I didn't expect this to come to Veve, because they were all about creating stuff for children. And after they had removed the cigarette from the hand of the Joker, they let me get the chat somewhere somewhere here for a moment. They have been not for me, not the application to bring out this, so to say, adult content, because as you all, or who doesn't know Happy Tree Friends, right? It's one of the first shockers that I ever had in my childhood when I was zapping through. I think it was running on MTV or something in Germany, and there was Happy Tree Friends. And these animals, they are usually in a very harmonic environment with some cute music and so on. You think, oh, nice, a little TV show for the little children. And then usually they are, dying in a pretty horrible way. So that's an adult content, so to say, coming for Veve. And apparently, Happy Tree Friends are the cute and cuddly forest creatures whose daily adventures lead to unpredictable and hilarious mayhem. That's how they wrote it. For digital collectibles, drop in blind box format Friday, 2nd of June. And if the prices are not too outrageous, I would be going for it. So yeah, here you see how that looks, right? Maybe look up, if you want, some of the cartoons beforehand. And actually, it seems that some people have never heard about this, because Sergio here, for example, says, I'm lost, I've never heard of these things. And for me, Happy Tree Friends is like super massive. It was all over. Everyone was talking about it at the time. Also, some other people are saying not familiar with this, but and then someone says here, Gorillionaire says here, holy shit, no way, the Vault Builder's gonna have to a blast with this one, which is true. And as Dr. Howard says here, rated R collectibles, so that is good that we can have these collectibles, right, on Veve, which opens up the doors for other collectibles to come as well that might fall into the category that we did not expect on Veve yet. So that is some of the news that were unexpected for Veve, and is a good fit. And I have to say one more thing from the thumbnail. These creatures look very good. The design of these creatures is very good. Obviously, they are probably not too hard to design, but they look exactly, also the facial expression here of these two is very good. I'm probably going for this drop. Z-Phaser says, I totally forgot about Happy Tree Friends. Yeah, I forgot about it a long time until they brought it up. So I'm really looking forward. And it's, by the way, this is from Mondo Media. So this is an the TV show has been licensed by Mondo, which is good to see as well. Z-Phaser says, I don't hope they drop animated versions where they get slaughtered. It would be funny, but it doesn't seem like it. Maybe the this one could be animated and sticking in the the fork in the toaster. Also, don't do this. Never do this, guys. I just have to say this. Oh. But I doubt that they will do this just because there are options for children being on the app. But what would be super funny here as a theory is, let's say you could sacrifice one of these in combination with another one or so to burn the collectible and get something differently for it. For example, let's say you have to sacrifice several of the Happy Tree Friends to get another one, a rare one, to craft one. And then this has an animation like this that is only personal for you. And that needs maybe... but because of KYC, right, there is no point in not having that specific content because KYC users always have to be at least 18 years old. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is a possibility for this. I'm being just a little bit creative here with the possibilities. Maybe you can, so to say, get rid of them by using other collectibles. That would be super funny. Or what I also would like to see is some mix, some blend of the different brands in a mini game. For example, hey, let's have a tree friend in an Aston Martin that and then you can drive the races, such as in Super Mario that you have different figures driving the carts. That would be also pretty funny. Nevertheless, I'm probably going to go for this one if the price is okay. I expect the price to be around 30 gems, which would be a price that I would be willing to pay. If that's 50 gems or more, then I'm not going for it. Then I grab whatever collectible I want on the secondary market. But yeah, I think that's a cool one. That is a very good drop. Let's see if something has happened besides that. Not really. Just that we get this airdrop for the Guardians of Galaxy set. If you have that, I think it's pretty lame to announce stuff like that. I think there should be only for the people that really want it. They get it, then it gets burned from the store, and one day they are like, hey, by the way, everyone who has that set gets an airdrop. That would be better, in my opinion. Some movement in the Veve marketplace. Luke, Miles, revenge posters. Hulk went up and away. That is very, very true. Revenge posters are the newest Star Wars posters, right? Yeah, that is very true, Mark. Some of the floors have been going up, and I have seen also, there is some offloading still from some people, but some floors where scarcity is high and the brand is very famous and it's a big first appearance like Luke, like Miles, and so on. Yeah, there's just not enough for everyone who is bullish. And if you take a look at the stats here, you see that whales are extremely hard buying at the moment. Why is my this line here is a little bit weird, but okay. There we go. So yeah, you see that, right? For example, number 7. Let me actually refresh this because there could be a little bit more data or a little bit new data here because that was from yesterday. But just since you mentioned this, why are floors going up? Because daily net accumulation is actually up by 85%. And the 14-day average of daily accumulation is also up by 30%. And the 30-day average is also up by 41%. So people are buying a ton. So as we can see here, the top 5, 6, 7, they are all above 100 accumulated collectibles, and then we have some degens here coming in with almost 3,500 collectibles added. That is obviously when you are dropping drops that only sell a couple of 1,000 collectibles in total. If you sum all of these daily net accumulations up here. For example, here's another 1,000 collectibles in the last 7 days. This is only in the last 7 days. If you sum this all up, you are basically in a decrease, maybe not decreasing collectible output in total, because if you take into account that there is a comic drop that sold out with 7,500, but if you take it overall, these are not just that one new collectible, right? But overall, you have a decrease of, if you take this plus the other one plus some of these here, you have more than 5,000 collectibles going away from the market across all of the collectibles. Then you have increasing flow into these mega wallets that we see here, right? And that is something to consider. These are hard facts regarding Ecomi and Veve, right? That people are, especially the bigger whales, are accumulating. They are purchasing collectibles, NFTs for the next bull run here on Veve. Because these massive amounts of collectibles are not only for collector perspectives. And by the way, we have another milestone here achieved. We have the next wallet having over 10,000 collectibles. This is recently. That wallet has 127 net accumulation, and this Veve whale is now one of the above 10,000 holders, and this one here is coming very, very close, and he just purchased 500 collectibles. Also, this one is heading towards more than 10,000 collectibles, and we will probably have in a couple of weeks already the entire top 10 above 10,000 collectibles, because there are new wallets coming up and overtaking these wallets. So there is a master collector race going on at the moment, probably driven by rankings like this and master collector program to accumulate more, and then also getting ready for the next bull run. I think personally we have time until the next halving and a little bit beyond, but in some categories of collectibles, in some specific collectibles, time is already over probably for accumulation. And as we see, with an ETH price of what is it, closer to $2,000, I don't even know right now, some of these collectibles are going for 5, 6, 7 ETH already, if you would make that comparison. So in comparison of the entire market of the NFT space, Veve is not too bad, right? On the contrary, some of these drops are bringing in 300,000, like the Lamborghini Diablo drop, like 300,000 US dollars in a second, in the blink of an eye. So as we see, there is probably going to be a lot of bottlenecks in the near future for many of these collectibles, as whales are packing their bags, and then at some point people will start to see that in general prices are curving up, sloping upwards, and will also feel that it's time to accumulate, which will then lead to this bottleneck event in many of those collectibles. Obviously not in the super high edition sizes, but I think one of the collectibles that I expect to explode first are, for example, comic secret rares, because of every secret rare there are some that are only 125, 188, 250. So these are super scarce, and even if you take that these top 100 wallets, right? There is some of these, if the top 100 buys, then that's it. Then the supply is extinct, right? Because Veve is withholding some of these editions as well of the secret rare comics. So yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm very, very sorry that you cannot see the net accumulation here on the side. So let me just, that's what I was talking about with the 3,000 net accumulation, right? So you have to say something if you cannot see. You have to put in the chat, can't see. But yeah, very true, Mark, what you said. It is important to monitor these statistics. to monitor where floor prices are going up and why. But ultimately, also Veve collectibles will really go up if Bitcoin is going up and profits trickle down in all to these more, let's say, more risky risk-on assets and degenerate plays. So that's ultimately what is going to happen. And I would even say for Veve, this is what we discussed before of the DXY, what we are going to look at every morning here on Crypto Morning Coffee. That is relevant for Ecomi, for Veve. These movements, right? These are very relevant. And let's just finally take a quick look at how Ecomi is doing. So Ecomi is actually, I cannot draw again, so I have to refresh this page. Ecomi is actually, consolidating on these levels. I am not convinced yet that this is it for Ecomi. If Bitcoin pumps in the next weeks, I expect this to drop further. I must say, I think it will drop further. That is a clear trend still to me. This trend is not broken, and there is no implication of strength in the volume. Besides some, if you see this on a higher time frame, right? This is massive volume. This is big selling volume, and there is no real visible uptrend in volume for this. So what this could be is bear flag, right? In my opinion, there is more downside to come. And by the way, short term, there could be, this is something that I have to say, short term, there could be a relief rally up to this point. Why? For Ecomi. Why? Because every time, at least in the last weeks or so, every time that we wicked through, so this is true here. So let me get this a little bit bigger to show you. This is true here. Here. So we wicked through this moving average, right? And then also here we wicked through and got rejected. And it happened again. After that, we had a fake out, so to say, right? Or a relief rally. And this happened now again. Since a long time it didn't happen. So we wicked through like here, and then we came up and got rejected on this one. So we wicked through this one again. Maybe there could be a possibility to have a relief rally and then come back down again and get rejected there. Yeah, so it could be. Mark D says, Secret Rare Comics, I like that call. So anyways, be very careful what you hear and see in this market, but also take everything that I say with a grain of salt, because I do not own the truth. I'm just another player in this market that wants to make a profit and that analyzes the market on my own way. It could also be that we just get rejected here, and that is not a sign. But I thought this was a pattern that was at least repeating 3 times before. We wicked through and then we came back above here, and now we were trending at least upwards. If Bitcoin pumps, I see this falling. Doesn't have to happen, but in the past we saw if Bitcoin pumps, OMI bleeds, and that was a truth. With that said, guys, unfortunately I have to go. Run a little bit in the hamster wheel to make some income. I thank you all for being here. By the way, guys, I always forget to ask, smash the like button. 16 people here, please, guys, if you haven't yet, smash the like button for this one, for this Crypto Morning Coffee. Also, if you enjoy it, then come back for tomorrow's Crypto Morning Coffee. And thank you for being here all. And wherever you are on the world, have yourselves a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon.